whoever you're actually doing the marketing for, you need to reverse engineer what their business goals are. Data means nothing unless you know what you're trying to do.
Are you a fitness-loving foodie? Then 76's is for you. 76 offers real, high-quality chocolate you love, combined with functional ingredients, giving you as much as 26 grams of protein per bag, so you can be both a little bit bad and a little bit good at the same time. As a female-owned brand, 76 dedicates a portion of its profits to other women-owned businesses. Currently sold in the US, you can find us on snacks.com and follow us on social at 76 Snacks.
Hello and welcome to the Shiny New Object podcast. This is a weekly podcast about the future of data-driven marketing. My name is Tom Ollison and I'm the founder of Automated Creative, the creative effectiveness ad tech platform. So this podcast is about the future of data-driven marketing. Every week I get the pleasure and the privilege to interview one of our industry's leaders about where they think this industry is going. And this week is no different. I'm on a call with Kevin McClary, who is head of performance marketing at Gorilla 76. So Kevin, for anyone who doesn't know who you are and what you do, could you give us a bit of background?
Sure. Thanks, Tom. So I originally studied English in college. And so I did not have a marketing background in necessarily what I studied, but always had an interest in marketing. So my original job out of college was as a technical writer, but I just could not get the marketing thing out of my head. So I was working on a lot of marketing projects on my own in the background, and eventually found my way into helping start a paid media function at a small agency locally. And that's what I've done the last 10 years or so is help start and build out paid media departments at small marketing agencies.
Right. So there's lots of hands-on experience, I guess, across lots of different sectors, and you've been through all the pain and got all the bumps and the bruises. So I'm really looking forward to this. So what advice would you give to a smart, already driven student that wanted to follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, I would say get out of theory and into practical hands-on marketing as soon as you can. There's a lot of great things you can learn in school and university, but to make yourself marketable and to be a truly good marketer, you need to actually do it. So getting your hands dirty, get your hands on keys, that can take form in a lot of different ways. You can get internships, if you need to work for free on the side, get involved in things on campus. Even a lot of universities have marketing or advertising clubs that act as like an advertising agency, so you can get that type of experience, or even just market and sell your own things for yourself. Like if you're in a band, if you play music and you want to advertise your music and get more attention on it, get more listeners, or if say your friend like sells soaps at a local farmer's market and you just want to help them get some more customers, it doesn't have to be some big fancy thing like getting an internship at some big advertising agency. You can start literally anywhere.
I think that is such good advice. My favorite people on this show are the people who've done that. They've set up their own little businesses or little side hustles to get out of theory and into practice. So that's great advice for someone starting. But imagine someone's got the wind in their sails and they're in the industry. What is the best bit of advice that you give data-driven marketers to be better at their jobs?
Yeah, it depends on the organization you're in. Are you working in-house? Are you working for an agency? But whoever you're actually doing the marketing for, you need to reverse engineer what their business goals are, right? You just need to understand what are we trying to accomplish, right? And do everything backwards from there. Like there's plenty that you can see in the data, but data means nothing unless you know what you're trying to do.
And so can you give me an example of that? Not necessarily from current experience, but so your advice is, well, look at the big business picture, and then your click-through rate or cost per acquisition might mean something. So could you tell us a story or give it as an example about when you applied that thinking in a practical context?
Yeah, for sure. So an example in my current role, I work for Gorilla 76, we are an industrial marketing agency. So we work with industrial manufacturing companies. And some of our clients only need 5 or 6 new customers a year to be profitable, right? And so that type of marketing is much different than if we're selling sneakers, e-commerce. So the data that I'm looking at for a client that's like selling only needs the 5 or 6 new customers, an industrial manufacturing client is much different. I definitely am looking down funnel. I want to get pipeline and I want closed won revenue, but I may not be able to see that for the first 6 to 12 to even 18 months, depending on what the sales cycles are. So the data, what is data driven, and my data driven decisions are more based on, is the ad resonating with the audience? Are the right target accounts seeing the ad, clicking on it, liking the ad? And you can see that in, click-through rate and cost per click and things. But it's much different than if I'm selling sneakers and I need to hit a really specific CAC in order to be profitable on that. So it's really going to change depending on who you're working with, what you're selling, sales cycles. So my advice to a student or a new person that's new in marketing is to understand those things first up front.
So your shiny new object is organic to paid pipeline. So I know what all of those words mean, and we had a chat about this, and I think it's fascinating. But can you explain to the audience why you've chosen organic to paid pipeline as your shiny new object and what that actually is?
Yes. So what that is, well, I'll start here. So in the last 5 years, we've seen a big change in social media platforms, right? TikTok exploded because it's based on interest-based algorithm. It wasn't based on who the stuff that you see in your feed is not based on who you follow. It's what you're interested in. And now that pretty much every other paid social channel has followed suit, even LinkedIn, they have their own video feed that's interest-based, Facebook, Instagram, X, everything. Because of that, you can now use organic posts and those channels to test your creative before ever putting paid dollars behind it. So you can make a piece of organic creative just like you would for a paid amplification that is targeted towards your audience. So if you're in B2B and you're targeting CTOs, right? You can make a video that's like, if you're a CTO at a company, did you know this, or you need to know this, and make an organic video that way, hoping that it will reach that audience. If that piece of content overperforms in the organic, then that is validated, right? Like you see, I have reached my audience. My audience is resonating and engaging with this. So now I'm going to tweak this to launch it in the paid environment. So you may need to tweak the creative to have more of a call to action. You might have the call to action at the end, in the middle, make it a little more performance based. But that's what the organic to paid pipeline is. Testing content in the organic space now that it's interest based, finding something that over indexes and then putting paid dollars behind it.
Right. So it's too clever. I love it. But how does that work? So let's take give me a real example if you want, but let's take a fictional one to make it a bit easier. Let's say B2B, we want to sell like a truck. I don't know, like a big truck for a building site, right? You're not going to buy many of those a year. So it's going to be your 6, 12, 18 month sales cycle, right? So what you would do is make how many ads, like 5, 20, 50 or 2, and then just put them out as organic posts. On LinkedIn, let's say, like 1 a day, 2 a day, 3 a day. I'm fascinated about the cadence and the volume here.
The volume is going to be dependent on your capacity. I would say as much as possible. There's really no limit. I don't see any detriment in doing multiple per day if you have the ability to. But it's really as much as possible. And then find, like I said, what over indexes. And what that means is views achieved, right? So actual reach. Because now the creative creates the reach. The merit of the creative itself is creating the organic reach.
And so just a point of clarification. So the reach would come from people interacting with the post.
Correct.
If everyone just saw it, they didn't comment, they didn't like, they didn't share, whatever, the algorithm's going to disengage with that post and it'll go. So really what you're looking for is engagement that gives you reach.
Exactly. Whatever is fueling more reach, right? You have some posts that get 500 impressions or 500 views, and you'll have some that get 500,000. And why is that? It comes from the engagement.
Right. Okay. And so then I know you didn't write the LinkedIn algorithm in this instance, but what is your guess here? So if, for example, the truck company dropped 100 posts, is the algorithm going to go, are you mad? Like back off? Or is there a sweet spot you found? Or keen to know a little more.
I have not found the limit.
Really?
I haven't found the limit. Maybe they do throttle it back at a certain point, but yeah, I have not found a specific limit.
Right. And then and presumably you're posting this from a company's page, right? So there's organic posts on the truck companies.
It can be both. So on LinkedIn specifically, I find that posts from individual pages of a real human perform better than from a company page. But that's not to say that you shouldn't post on both. But don't be surprised if you make the same post from your individual page and the same one on your company page, that the individual gets more reach.
So the LinkedIn algorithm has a limitless capacity to deal with organic posts, ideally from like a CEO or a head of product or whatever it is. And then how are you calculating the success? Are you just going into your analytics and just pulling the data down into a spreadsheet and creating a pivot table? How are you doing that?
Sure, you can do that. I mean, you can get as sophisticated as you want with it. Pull the data out, export it, put it into a spreadsheet pivot table, or if you just say, I want to look at how things have performed in the last week, just scroll through yourself and you'll probably find a handful of posts that have overperformed that really stick out.
This episode of the Shiny New Object podcast is brought to you in partnership with MadFest. Whether it's live in London or streamed online to the global marketing community, you can always expect a distinctive and daring blend of fast-paced content, startup innovation pitches, and unconventional entertainment from MadFest events. You'll find me causing trouble on stage, recording live versions of this podcast, and sharing a beer with the nicest and most influential people in marketing. Check it out at www.madfestlondon.com. So once you've identified your winning post or your theme, you're then putting into maybe making it a bit more performance-y or fitting into whatever format you need. And then are you like back in the top 5 posts or just taking the top one? Like how are you making that work?
Yeah, I would say you can use your best judgment into how many you want to put into there. I would put more than one. 5 is probably a pretty good target. But if you have 10 posts, right, from the last month that really seemed like winners, that's good as well. So yeah, take the top like few percent and put paid dollars behind it into a paid campaign.
And so where did you get this technique from? Was this something you invented or you'd seen it elsewhere? Was it a bit borrowed or stolen, or are you the inventor of this?
I'm not the inventor of this. It's a little bit of everything you just mentioned. I've seen others do this as well. Less so on LinkedIn. I feel like there's not a whole lot of action on this front on LinkedIn. A lot of folks are doing it on TikTok, especially like with Instagram Reels. But it's something that I've even tested myself just outside of, marketing agency life, like the day job. Like it's something I've done. I make content myself on all of the social channels, and I've taken organic posts that performed well and run them as paid ads as an experiment. And wouldn't you know it, they're some of the best performing paid ads I've had. So that testing it in my own like individual creator life really gave me the juice to bring it into doing it for a real company.
Right. I'm starting to see that experimenting with my own LinkedIn. I'm trying to get over myself on LinkedIn. I just thought, right, I'm gonna spend 15 minutes a day. I'm gonna post every day. I don't care. I'm just gonna get on with it. Just do it. Just, if people laugh at me, that's fine. I don't mind. But what I've really found is how posts from a couple of weeks ago are sort of coming back up and doing really well. And it's certainly, as you say, it's algorithmic, not sequential. So it's almost like you have to put these bets out there and just hope that something sticks and something flies, which is I think quite a difficult mindset, especially if it's easier as a solo person or a creator. But it's brands find it hard enough to get one ad out the door, like, a paid ad or organic content, like that gets labored over endlessly. And certainly in the B2B space, it's not known for being prolific, is it? It's like, okay, this is the B2B message and it's all been signed off and here it is. And it happens really slowly. But what you're talking about is rapid production of not random, but varied content to see what sticks, right? So how do you advise that B2C and B2B marketers get their heads around you're talking about a whole different level of volume here?
Yeah, it's definitely tough if you're working as a consultant, right? If you're advising your clients to do this, I would say don't try and spend a ton of time convincing upfront. That almost gets out of theory, right? Like, don't pitch it like it's an idea in a textbook. Like, do it yourself. Do it for yourself, so you have a really clear case study about what works. Like, eat your own food. And if you have that, you can use that as a case study to then pitch to clients or even an internal team. Like, if you're trying to pitch this to your internal team, if you've done it on an individual level and you've shown that it works, like, that's the best case. But if you're still not getting buy-in, don't fight a losing battle, right? Like, don't try and convince the unconvincible, I would say.
So what are the downsides of this? Like, it's currently working, and I guess at some point, the industry will move on and it won't be the interest graph anymore. It'll be the AI graph, or just be some horrible AI slop everywhere. So apart from the fact that it's not going to work forever, what would you say are the main issues with this?
Yeah, I would say that it's challenging because you have to keep up day to day with how the organic algorithms work. Like, what works right now in late 2025 is not what was working in early 2024. So you have to really be an active daily practitioner to know what's going to work. Like, really even small tactical things about like, how should I format the captions on the video, or what should the headline look like, or the thumbnail, or the first 3 seconds of the video. That's going to change pretty quickly. But with that comes opportunity. There's a first mover advantage. If you're quick to move, others will be slow. But yeah, it can definitely be challenging. You can't just rest on your laurels.
It's not easy, is it, Kevin?
No.
Well, look, it's been a really fascinating podcast that we don't normally get this granular and this deep. So I've enjoyed it. And sorry if I've asked you too many specific technical questions. It's very close to Automated Creative's heart, as you'd imagine. So if someone wants to get in touch with you about anything we've talked about today, could you tell the audience where you'd like them to get in touch with you and what makes a message that you'll reply to?
Oh, great. I like that. Yeah, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name's Kevin McClary. Spelled just the way it is, I'm sure, in the podcast title. You can also hit me up on any other paid social channel, Kevin Earl 93. My middle name's Earl, born in 93, so Kevin Earl 93. And what will stick out? Tell me if you've listened to the podcast. Tell me, hey, I heard you on the Shiny New Objects podcast. Nice. And enjoyed your conversation there. So that'll get my attention.
And I'm gonna give you a shout out for Kevin Earl, because I listened to music. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I'm not gonna ask you to do this, but I did have someone on the podcast who sang once. She was a musician. She said, "Can I sing?" I was like, "Yeah, go for it." A cappella. So maybe next time, Kevin, we'll get your axe out. But mate, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate it.
Hi. Just before you go, I'd really appreciate it if you could take the time to write a review of the Shiny New Object podcast on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, whatever it's called these days, or whichever podcast provider you use. We're an indie podcast, so it would go a long way for us if you could just share the word and give us a bit of a support on those channels. That would just be fantastic. If you haven't got time, that's also cool. And yeah, if you could tell your colleagues about the podcast, and also, if possible, don't forget to subscribe. And I'd love to hear your feedback. If you'd like to speak on the podcast or be a guest, or you think I'm asking the wrong questions, anything, I'd be super interested to hear what you think. So please email me at tom@automatedcreative.net. That's TOM at, I'm not going to bother spelling it. Anyway, you'll work it out. Thanks so much.